I study relationship dissolution. This is the academic word for breakups, not dating breakups, not divorce, but actually broken marriage engagements. So I was doing an exploratory qualitative study. So exploratory, there's very little data, research out there on broken engagements. Qualitative, it wasn't an experiment, it wasn't a bunch of numbers, this was about the words, right? So I was interviewing people. I interviewed 43 people for an average of 66 minutes each to hear about their broken engagement experiences. Everything from who called it off, why they called it off, the reasons behind that. And this particular study looks at the social support that they received after telling other people that they broke their engagement. Like, what happened? The first one is ultimately that words do matter, right? So from bartender to barista, from colleague to college roommate, family, loved ones, no one should underestimate their power in the healing word by offering a kind and thoughtful word and being present in the moment with someone who's going through something difficult. Our words matter, and our words can help someone heal. So that was like a big takeaway. And the second takeaway, which I really like, is the broken engagement social support stoplight. And this was something, as I went through all 43 interviews of the people, I looked at all the messages that they thought were helpful, mixed, or unhelpful, and then compiled them into this stoplight. So the red being, unhelpful messages, right? We want to avoid the pitying, the platitudes. There are more fish in the sea, right? Passing judgment on people. For example, one participant, her fiance had called it off about 2 weeks before the wedding started. Her best friend was going to fly in for the wedding and said to her, like, well, I'm still going to fly in, but this isn't going to be like a moping weekend, right? And so she felt very judged as to how she was allowed to grieve. And then there's the yellow, right? The let's use this with caution. And these were things like maybe we're criticizing the ex. Some people really like that, especially if they weren't the one to end it and it's, a few days after the breakup. But other people think, this is the person I wanted to marry. Please don't criticize them. Or even things like, I'm sorry. Lots of participants said, that's a totally natural reaction. It's sort of what I expected. There's no good thing to say, right? But if you're a person who is leaving an abusive relationship, hearing I'm sorry might make you feel like you need to justify that decision, right? Or hearing I'm sorry if you left someone who was facing some sort of addiction and you didn't want to deal with that. Like, they're not sorry, they found courage to leave, right? So I'm sorry isn't actually always the best response. That response might actually be better. Sort of if we go back to English 101, where we talk about fragments and full sentences, think of I'm sorry as that fragment and finish the sentence. So I'm sorry you're going through this right now, right? You're being present in the moment. You're sorry about that situation, but not something that this person may or may not have done. So that's the mix. So what do we say, right? Like, besides, I'm sorry you're going through this right now, what can actually be a helpful message? And these are things like conveying that I'm listening, right? I'm here if you want to vent. Spending time with someone. If you want to go bowling, go miniature golfing, go see a movie where they can talk or not. All of that is like a helpful message. This research matters because we care about other people's well-being, or we should, right? We should care about our neighbors, our coworkers, our friends, and our family. And so we can take this and these messages of kind and thoughtful words, of being present in the moment. And while the phrasing may change a little bit depending on the situation, right? Is it cancer? Is it a miscarriage? Is it a divorce? What's going on in their life, right? But the bottom line of being present, being kind, being thoughtful, being with them in their moment, we want to help them feel better. We don't want to add to their suffering.